Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. The summer transfer window is still 60 days away, but already Premier League clubs are beginning to get their plans in place, and Manchester United are no exception. United clearly need to do a great deal of business over the off-season, with Ruben Amorim's side struggling for consistency this season. But much will depend on their ability to offload unwanted players and generate cash to reinvest. Marcus Rashford, Antony and Jadon Sancho are all currently out on loan, at Aston Villa, Real Betis and Chelsea respectively, and there have been reports that those moves could all be made permanent. Getting those deals in place is of crucial importance for United, with co-owner Sir Jim Ratcliffe making it clear that previous transfer dealings have been well below par. Ineos have been on a drastic cost-cutting exercise in the past year and will not be funding a massive splurge in the transfer window, so canny deals will be the order of the summer. With that in mind, here are the latest headlines from Liverpool report former Crystal Palace owner Simon Jordan doesn't think that Aston Villa will fork out the money required to sign Marcus Rashford permanently in the summer. Rashford has been performing well since joining Villa on loan in January from United, but will cost a lot to sign. I could have bet you any money in the world that Rashford would come alive for Aston Villa, Jordan said on TalkSport. Fantastic, but wait until Villa have got to write a cheque out. I think they're too canny and too wise to fall into this trap. It's one thing having a player on loan, playing a small % of his wages, so it's a small transaction. You have him for 4 months, it costs you £5 to £6 million, nothing, nobody cares. Everybody knew Marcus Rashford was going to lift a leg at Villa. I think the system helps as well. I just think Villa are too wise for it, and first of all, they're not going to want to pay over £300,000 a week and a transfer fee. It's too big of a deal. United co-owners Ineos and New Zealand Rugby have reached a settlement in their sponsorship contract dispute. NZR, responsible for the All Blacks team, had launched legal action in February after Sir Jim Ratcliffe's company tried to adjust their deal due to the impact of high energy costs and extreme carbon taxes. A joint statement from the organisations read, New Zealand Rugby and Ineos can confirm that a settlement has been reached between the two parties. Whilst the details remain confidential, both organisations are satisfied with the outcome and acknowledge a desire to now move forward. Ineos, which has also stepped back from its sailing sponsorship deal and is reportedly considering its options in Formula One, had failed to pay the first instalment of the 2025 sponsorship deal, essentially confirming its decision to exit the 6-year agreement. Former United defender Jaap Stam believes the playing style being implemented by Amorim is to blame for Rasmus Højlund's meagre goal tally. Højlund was signed for £72 million from Atalanta, but is yet to really fire in a United shirt. I think that it's the style of play that is holding Rasmus Højlund back, Stam told Macthaver.se. We don't know how the manager is trying to use him in matches, and I think he doesn't get a lot of chances to touch the ball and get into games. It becomes a very difficult situation for a striker, because you don't see crosses coming into the box, and the emphasis should be on creating chances for him. If you don't get chances, you can't prove how good a striker you are. Christian Eriksen could be offered the chance to finish his career at Ajax if the Dane leaves Manchester United this summer, the club's sporting director has revealed. The midfield maestro is out of contract at the end of the season and would be available on a free transfer. Eriksen, 33, started his senior career with Ajax after initially joining the Dutch Giants youth setup. He went on to make 162 appearances in total and won Eredivisie 3 times before being lured to the Premier League by Tottenham back in the summer of 2013. The former Inter Milan star is expected to be on the move at the end of a frustrating 2024-25 campaign, having featured just 14 times in all competitions for United since Ruben Amorim's arrival in November. And Marijn Buker, Ajax's sporting director, has confirmed that conversations have taken place internally at the club about making a play to bring Eriksen back home. He is one of the players who has performed fantastically with us in the past that we are thinking about, he told ESPN. There will be multiples in the media. Other names mentioned are those of Dusan Tadic and Daley Blind. Such players are always an option, to look at it. It has to fit into the phase we are in though, in the salary structure. You also don't want to block youth players coming up. That we are open to thinking about it is clear, only it has to fit into the overall picture for the future. While Manchester United are currently languishing in the bottom half of the Premier League table, Ajax are enjoying a fine season under Francesco Farioli and are 9 points clear of PSV Eindhoven at the Eredivisie Summit as they close in on what would be a 37th domestic title. Speculation over Eriksen's future has been rife in recent weeks after he recently confirmed to Dutch outlet TV2 that he had heard nothing over a new contract at Old Trafford. Eriksen said, "I haven't been told anything, and since I haven't, I assume the collaboration will end. That's how I interpret it. Everyone knows my contract is expiring, so I expect there's only one way this will go. I haven't thought much about it. In my mind, I'm prepared to find something new. What that will be, I haven't decided yet. I don't have anything specific that I really want to try, so I'll see what comes along and what fits me and my family." Manchester United co-owner Ineos and New Zealand Rugby have announced a settlement has been reached in their sponsorship contract dispute. It comes after NZR, responsible for the All Blacks team, launched legal action in February. They took action against Sir Jim Ratcliffe's Ineos after accusing the chemicals firm of failing to pay the first 2025 instalment of a 6-year deal. Ineos at the time said it had looked to adjust its sponsorship, with it having to implement cost-saving measures due to the impact of high energy costs and extreme carbon taxes on its European businesses. A joint statement from the organisations late on Monday read, "New Zealand Rugby and Ineos can confirm that a settlement has been reached between the two parties. Whilst the details remain confidential, both organisations are satisfied with the outcome and acknowledge a desire to now move forward." Ineos, which took charge of footballing operations at United in February last year, struck the deal with NZR in 2021. NZR's statement in February read, "New Zealand Rugby is disappointed that Ineos has breached its sponsorship agreement. Most recently, it failed to pay the first instalment of the 2025 sponsorship, confirming its decision to exit our 6-year agreement. Having learned of Ineos's decision to walk away 3 years early, we have moved to protect the interests of New Zealand Rugby and the wider game. We have been left with no option but to launch legal proceedings to protect our commercial position." Ineos's subsequent statement read, "Trading conditions for our European businesses have been severely impacted by high energy costs and extreme carbon taxes, along with much of the chemicals industry in Europe, which is struggling or shutting down. We are witnessing the deindustrialization of Europe. As a result, we have had to implement cost-saving measures across the business. We sought to reach a sensible agreement with the All Blacks to adjust our sponsorship in light of these challenges. Unfortunately, rather than working towards a managed solution, New Zealand Rugby have chosen to pursue legal action against their sponsor." Marcus Rashford's Manchester United teammate Alejandro Garnacho showed support for the forward after scoring his first goals on loan at Aston Villa. The England international netted a brace against Preston in Villa's 3-0 FA Cup quarter-final win to finally get off the mark. It has been a tough time for Rashford after being frozen out of Manchester United's squad by Ruben Amorim following a fallout between the pair. The 27-year-old was questioned over his training performances and attitude after the Portuguese coach said he could not pick a player who did not give the maximum. Rashford, who earns around £325,000 a week in his deal at Old Trafford, was eventually granted a loan move to Villa Park until the end of the season, and has been a relative success so far. He now has 2 goals and 4 assists under new boss Unai Emery, who has started him in 7 out of 11 games since he linked up with the Midlands outfit. His improved form has led to a recall to the England squad, and his 2-goal salvo against Preston underlined the momentum he is enjoying as he posted a picture of his day out. He captioned the picture, "I am buzzing to finally get my first Villa goals and help the team progress to the semi-finals. Happy Mother's Day and Eid Mubarak to everybody around the world celebrating." Rashford's United teammate Garnacho replied to him using 2 emojis, appearing to gesture towards Rashford's signature headpoint celebration. The pair played together for 3 full seasons, with both players often featuring on either flank or rotated under the leadership of both Erik ten Hag and Amorim. Talk will now turn to Rashford's future as Villa decide on whether to activate their £40 million option to sign him permanently at the end of the season. When asked about what decision Villa will make on Rashford after his brace against Preston, Emery said, "Not yet," said Emery when asked if a decision on Rashford had been made. "The most important thing is the challenge now and this afternoon, recovering and then preparing for the match against Brighton tomorrow. A decision about each individual players. It is to get the best of them and the best of us. We don't want to waste time thinking about it."